Now we go to a destination that's been hit the hardest, really. Tourism accounts for about 20% of their GDP. So, how do you plan for better days ahead for that destination? Well, our next speaker remains resolute in her vision to create better days for Thailand. Please welcome Hoon Numfhon Boonyawat, who's Deputy Governor for Policy and Planning, Tourism Authority of Thailand. Sawadee. All right. I hope I can hear. Okay. So Kun Namfon, first time I met you, I asked you like what that name meant because it's such a beautiful name, and you said it means rain in Thai. But it's certainly been a very stormy time. Tell us the story behind your name first before we begin.
Yes, it's easy. I was born when it was raining. And Numfhon is the name of my mom's favorite character in book. And she's a doctor. She's not pretty, but she's smart, kind and good. So I think that my mom would like me to grow up to be like her.
All right. So you've been in TAT since 1987, and you were appointed deputy governor 2 years right before COVID struck, right? So great timing because this has been an opportunity to plan. So before we get into how you see Thailand's recovery, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned during this pandemic, given all your years at TAT?
Okay, I think it's have three things. The first one is that I learned about the values of human being. I think this period has challenged all of us, okay, to be the best as we can. What I mean is be generous, sincere to help each other. And I have to tell you that I'm idealistic person. So I think COVID has forced us as a human to be kind to each other. And it also proved that travel is the most important things in our life. So if we would like to travel safely, we have to help each other. About the thing. The second thing is I learned is the values of technology. Because through this crisis, I think we got to know the true values of technology and how it's helping us a lot through these difficult times. And the last thing I would like to talk about the value for tourism. I need to reveal the weaknesses. I have to tell you that I've been frustrated by past thinking in our industry that I think we always measure the tourism success through the financial metrics, like percentage of GDP, the how many visitor arrivals we getting, or the money that we are making. But I would like to look at the revenue generated by tourism. I want to look deeper that this money is being fairly distributed and whether or not it has improved the local quality of life. And I want tourism to be more than just a profit machine. And I think it can be a tool for those around the world to use it to learn more about each other. And through learnings, come to understanding each other better and turn become a better global citizen in the future.
Yeah, but
so I think another thing is always.
Kun Namfon, I mean, that's wonderful.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. It's wonderful and and it's very idealistic. And I know that you say that you're an idealist, right? And you want to look at how, tourism differently. But, honestly, I mean, tourism accounts for 20% of GDP for Thailand. There are lots of businesses that are struggling, small businesses and all that. So how do you change mindset during a time when people are struggling and really trying to survive?
I think the COVID has made many people in Thailand rethink tourism. I think people see that how dangerous it is. That, as you said, that we just like depend on tourism about 20% of GDP. That's why we struggle a lot. Okay, when we lost our international tourists, that is a share about 60%, and in that is just like 28% is from China. But I think this is the best time to reposition in Thailand. I think we found. I think when I share my vision with my industry member, I think they agree with me though they worry that sometimes it's quite idealistic, but it is challenging. I think if we don't start it now, how, when? So I think it will be too late. So I know that it's very difficult that if you want to stop running, but we've been running the same way for 30 years. But I think COVID forced us to stop and rethink. So we have to start again. I think though we have to restart slow, but that's why we need help from all sectors, especially from the government, to create examples or a real big move that everyone can follow. So we have to have trust and faith in each other in these trying times, I think.
Right. So really a stronger, a real clear vision ahead and getting people behind that message. And we're going to then talk about your, BCG tourism model later. But for now, let's talk about practical matters like reopening, right? Phuket Sandbox opened July 1. You've got the rest of the country opening up, Bangkok as well. What's the update so far? And what's the key lesson that's been learned since the reopening?
Phuket Sandbox is open from July, right? Until now. The number that I get from July to October 19 is about 51,748 tourists, okay? And the booking, we have in advance about 18 days, okay? And have average stay about 84 days. And if you get a lot of money, it's about 103 million US dollars. That was the statistics so far. And for Samui Plus model, we have just like 1,462 tourists, and is generate revenue about 87.7 million baht, or about 2.9 million USD.
Okay, it's a start. It's important that we take these first steps, right? I mean, it's like in Singapore, we're opening up vaccinated travel lanes. So,
yeah.
Okay. So now
I think it's just the big things. I think it was important.
So now let's come back.
Sorry.
That's okay. No. It's very hard. You see, virtual. We'd love for you to be here, actually, or I in Bangkok, in amazing Thailand. I'd rather be there, But let's come back to the BCG model, and I'm going to show the audience a chart here as to how Thailand is thinking about its its circular economy and how it's connecting farmers to the consumers and creating this technology. And you've really formed a strategic partnership with the Thailand Organic Consumers Association. So if we can have the next chart that really shows how it will connect the farmers and then, with the travelers coming in. And I know it's been a domestic platform, but I think you used the Phuket Sandbox to actually launch it internationally. So what do you hope to achieve with this partnership?
I wish that it should be a first step, okay? Because food is the perfect way to start with. Because many people love Thai food, it's yummy, spicy, and have a story behind that. And this platform, Toga platforms, have been made it really tangible. That means you can connect consumer, restaurant, and hotel through this platform. The people can earn a point when they're dining at these places. So I think it will be another amazing story that may I name his name? Hoon Navarat, he will be the one who will connect Thailand back to the farmer roots and to share with the consumer and travelers. Yeah, this is what we expect from this.
Yeah, and it's been a 10-year effort by him, I know. So your role is therefore to generate consumer demand, and their role is to build supply and the tech platform. Right. Okay. What is the biggest challenge you think?
Yes, right.
What's the biggest challenge you think in getting adoption of this platform, though?
I think the first thing is just like we have to change people's perception and mindset. And for example, in Phuket, experience can be differences within the platform because we can think more beyond the beach resort. Okay, when people think about Phuket, it's only about nature and beach. But I hope that even the Phuket people. You'll be surprised by what they have in terms of organic farming and produce. And consumer can become more empowered because they feel they are part of virtuous cycles of change. And another challenge is making sure that people get on board for the right reason and that are sincere and not doing because it's a trend. I actually before that I'm idealistic, so I'm frustrated by people thinking that they can get money because it's a trend. So you have to be sincere and genuine about making an impact.
Right. So how do you evaluate their sincerity? Because now everybody's putting up their hand to say, I'm sustainable, I'm green. So how do you see beyond that?
I won't offer any incentive at all. We just sharing the objectives only. And we found someone who just like jump in without thinking and never ask for anything. They just would like to know more about the platform, how it's work, and they want to be part of it without asking for anything. That's what we found. And this is what we are talking with Boonyawat, Toga,
Right. And
about how we select our partner.
Right. And the thing with this approach is that it's really grassroots, it's getting farmers involved in it. And it's really a grassroots approach. They started it, and then you have come on to just basically amplify, given them the marketing funds and all that to amplify their reach, which is a good collaboration. Now, we have an audience of OTAs and online distribution platforms at this conference. So what do you think the online travel agents can do to help Thailand recover better?
I think they should also share their profit, with industry and not charge the supplier too much. I think they can spend a lot. I know that they spend a lot of money, on their technology and to create demand. But if they can make a little less profit and share with the industry, it would be great. I think it would be a good first step. And they can even identify green hotel and promote them in their platform, so they can make the customer can also pick the hotel and can earn points. I think.
Okay, that means integrate their offerings with the Toka platform, so that the customers, when they come in, they can earn the earth points through all that. Okay, so we have a question for you from the audience. When will Thailand offer no quarantine for vaccinated travelers, and also maybe get vaccinated travelers to do ART tests, not PCR test submissions?
Could you repeat again?
Okay. Let's
repeat the question again, please.
The first question is, when will Thailand offer no quarantine for vaccinated travelers?
Soon, because now we just select the countries. I think they have already picked the country that they will be allowed. If you fully vaccinate, you can come to Thailand with no quarantine.
Okay, because the US has already stated by November.
I think Singapore is that. Yeah.
Okay, so
Singapore is one of the list.
Singapore is one on the list. Singapore is on the list for.
Yeah, they will pick from the low list. Yeah, from country from the low list. Okay, they can travel to Thailand after they have fully vaccinated, and they can travel freely with no quarantine.
Okay.
I think they have 5 countries.
You heard it here.
I can check it for you quickly, but.
Okay. The second question is, will Thailand accept ART tests versus PCR tests? It's 2 different types of tests.
Oh.
Okay, we can come back to that question later. All right. Okay, but thank you for that advice on what the big OTAs can do to help Thailand recover better, right? But again, it's like it's very idealistic, right? Because everybody now wants to everybody's had a really tough 2 years, and now they just want to try and recover their business. But you did say you're an idealist, right? So what's the biggest thing that you had to unlearn during this time? Okay, we talked about what you learned, but what did you have to unlearn during 30 years of working in Thai tourism?
Okay, it's not every Thai province to be open up to tourism. but they can still benefit from tourism to the country. We don't need to have tourist physically being there. That was a thing. Like this event, I can share my view without being in Singapore with you. And I hope that my views make an impressions on your audience.
So that's an interesting thought, that not every Thai province has to be open to tourism, but they can somehow still benefit from tourism to the country. That's an interesting.
Yeah, just like they can apply. Yeah.
Okay.
Apply the materials that can support the supply chain, right?
Through the platform that you're supporting. Okay. All right. So I think we've come to the
right.
All right. We've come to the end of time. So we're going to end up with some easy answers, because we're all missing Thailand. I want to ask you, what's your favorite Thai food?
Lab, spicy minced pork salad.
All right. And what's a
cooked by my dad.
What's a secret about Thai food that we may not know about outside?
I think the seasonal dishes made by the Thai herbs, yummy medicine.
As medicine, okay. And we had a lot of talk about wellness actually at this conference. So, and then what do you want travelers to say about Thailand 5 years from now?
Thailand always in their list whenever they have times and money, and they will recommend it to all their friends and families. And every time they visit Thailand, they always get a good new experience and find a new good friends.
All right. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ คุณ Numfhon. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time out. So I bet that conversation had all of us hankering to visit Thailand.